For our next session, I'd like to invite Puan Aida Lim Abdullah, Chairman of Penang Halal International.
Hey guys, welcome back to today's session. So I'm Jason Low, and once again, I shall moderate this session. And for this session in Data Asia, I have Puan Aida Lim, the CEO of Penang Halal International. I've met Puan Aida since the end of last year, and we have been indeed talking and working on various digitalization efforts, and especially running virtual expos for PHI by itself. So let's welcome Puan Aida to today's session. Hi Puan, nice to see you here.
Hi, good day. Hi, nice for inviting me, Jason, and thank you. And it's an honor to participate in your Data Asia's Expo.
Hey, thank you, Puan. You have always been supporting all kinds of initiatives that we're doing, and it's good to know that you are always a strong believer in your digitalization efforts, helping SMEs, micro SMEs, implementing all kinds of technology and things like that. So I'm very excited to talk to you about today's topic, through your experience in corporate and now serving the community and business owners. How is the digitalization journey for SMEs out there? So, Puan, throughout your years of doing these kind of activities, right, what do you feel that the challenges that these kind of SMEs or micro SMEs are actually facing when it comes to digitalizing or implement digital features into their businesses?
Actually, digitalization is something that is not new to all of us. In fact, I was involved during the capital and financial market times to assist company to develop and grow, and especially the marketing and the engagement, communication, surveillance, everything, market analysis and all that. So since I would say that 1997 technology already started quite robust and run very fast. But what happened is that certain segment of the SME will go faster than certain others. Okay, so actually technology and digital cannot be avoided in any businesses at all in SME. So why is it digital and technology is so important now, especially after we met? We are over this trying period, pandemic especially, where engagement, communication and contact has become an issue. And in any businesses, marketing, engagement, communication, learning, everything is so important. Now just take a look at the landscape in Malaysia. How important is SME in our economy? Based on the statistic from SME Corp as well as statistic Negara Malaysia, 98.5% of the business establishment in Malaysia fall under the definition of SME, 98.5%. So out of this 98.5%, almost a quarter is mid-tier to bigger SME, medium to small. Now, we are talking about 25%. The rest of the 75% sit under micro enterprises. So when they are small, more so digital is going to be so important and so essential to their survival and growth. Okay, because digital can resolve a lot of issue that to help them to overcome a lot of challenges, especially engagement and communication. So just now, one of your issue is that what are the challenges, right? Am I right? The challenges that are facing them. I think these are few of the area that, from my experience, engagement with SME, and plus myself was directly involved in developing all the SME. I find that this is the part that stopping them, money and resource. Okay, so money and resource have been one of their main challenges. Of course, awareness. I think awareness is slowly picking up, especially after the pandemic. They realize that there is a need of an alternative way or solution, innovative ways to engage people. But the lack of readiness in the past, the lack of inherent technology expertise, that means they only use technology like simple thing for phone call and send out mails and all that. Those are not good enough. So they lack that kind of skill, but to build that skill and resource and everything, they need money, they need expertise, they need where to start. So looking at SME being the backbone of our economy in 2019, I think, no, sorry, 2020, I think in year 2020, government have actually stepped up and trying to help in terms of giving support and all that, and giving in total, I remember this is the number that I remember I came across is that the package Prihatin, it may be even more, but this is something that we collected, yeah? Nearly about how many million already government actually spent in the Prihatin, you know. I think, wait now, I don't really have the number with me. If I'm not wrong, it's about 100 billion ringgit was allocated to support the SME under the Prihatin economic stimulus package in the whole spectrum. But mostly, I would say that most of the support somehow indirectly linked to digital. Okay. Now, Penang Halal International has a very unique experience in 2020, where we deploy and partner with many technology experts to elevate and enable all these SME, and it proved to be very effective. Just an example, one of the e-commerce that we partner with them to help them to educate, create awareness for micro and smaller entrepreneur. Within 6 months, I think 2020 itself, 6 months, there were about 15,000 merchants elevated in that program using technology, and it generate about 580 million sales revenue for all of them just by using one single platform. So can you imagine if all of them know how to further elevate that? But the second thing I think their challenge is that technology is easy. You can buy something, ask somebody to set up, but how to maintain it and how to upscale it, how to make sure it's up to date and all that. This is what SMEs challenges is: the technical side, the resource side, and the knowledge side, and where to go to. So there's a lot of consultants out there. You know, there's no benchmark as to what is the right answer. So they use a trial and error approach. One of the challenges that SME key challenges is that the lack of awareness, the lack of understanding of how and where to start, and why some of them don't even know the actual what do you call that benefit of digital. But of course, pandemic recently teach them some. But I think is beside the awareness is the knowledge. You know, knowledge and the resource, where to get the resource. The lack of awareness of these digital things, right, cause many of them slow in catching up. You know, the digital transformation, before we even talk about digital transformation, the digital start and future ready mindset, whether do they have that? That is what I generally observe. Because when you tell them, the first thing they're worried about is a firefighting situation. In most of the SME, smaller enterprises and all these micro entrepreneurs, is that they are most likely very limited in resources, multitasking to the max. So when you ask them to do something new, something to get ready for the future, and something to get ready as competitiveness, sometimes quite a number of them, they don't have a clue where to start. And that's why people like us, who have gone through or who have the adequate exposure or who understand some of the jigsaw puzzle are very actually needed in the economy situation to help all these SME. Now, do they understand data? Do they understand how to get the data? Do they understand where their market is? And do they know how to communicate to market that they have never reached before? And do they understand what is internet marketing? Do they understand what is called social communication? Do they understand in the internet there is many other markets that they may not even know? They have so many customers that is out there that they have not even gone to that space. So to me, their challenges is the awareness, and then the second is whether they have the time and resource. If they do, no, it's all start with the where the help, who they need a lot of guidance and all that. So also, how do they manage the data? Most of the SME at the moment, the only type of things that they have is a simple laptop and some software. That's it. So let's not talk about building a website. Some of them don't even know that they need a website because there's a window of communication in the modern business environment. So why this is important is because if you look at the population now, is year 2021. So in pandemic they may have accelerated the process a little bit, but the landscape of the population, generation Z, or they call Gen Z, is coming into the workforce, and they are part and parcel of the moving economy now. In the global population at this standpoint, based on the State of the Islamic Economic Report in 2020, the Gen Z is about 32%, based on the global population. Why are they so important? Because they are very tech savvy. So the only way to reach out to the future customer and the future market, you can't live without digitalization. You can't live without technology. And what are we talking about? The Gen Z spectrum. We are talking about global spending of almost US dollars 100 billion in estimate, the 30%. So 6 out of the 10, based on the research and data from the Islamic Economic Report in year 2020, 6 out of the 10 purchases made by this 30% of the generation is through mobile phone. Okay, so can you imagine this space is growing very fast? And in Europe, Middle East, Africa population, Gen Z in the economy is about 17-18%, and is still growing. So how does Gen Z search for information? Why digital is so important for SME and whoever who do businesses? Because Gen Z, I'm focusing on the younger generation, the 30%, the 100 billion spending people, 47 to 50% of them, their where to go to for information is on the internet search engine, either via mobile phone or their internet access. And almost 50% of them are in social networks in the digital space, and they read consumer reviews every time when they buy something. They leave reviews and all that. That stand about 30 to 35%. So if anyone who are in business, whether they're SME, micro, or whatever, say that, never mind, they take some time to study, I don't think time is waiting for them, because things are moving every second, every day. So if they are still standing in the quadrant of the zero awareness, it's very important for them to quickly, if they can't learn it themselves, their team need to learn. If not, there's always other alternative, but we will come to that segment later as we go along in our conversation. There are solutions to all the challenges.
Right, right.
Whenever there's a challenges, there's always a solution. It depends on how we tackle it, whether the cup is half empty or the cup is half full, right?
So I would like to extend one of the earlier points which Puan mentioned, right? You talk about most of the time they are in the dark, they do not have the knowledge, and we do see the government giving all kinds of initiatives like you mentioned, the Prihatin, the digitalization grant initiatives and things like that. Do you feel that this collaboration between the government and also, of course, the private corporations, right, the solution providers, are actually doing whatever they can already to reach out to all of these SMEs and micro entrepreneurs on what's going on? Or do you feel that most of the time it is still very segmented towards very city-based areas? If you're talking about states beyond KL, you still have businesses who haven't gained the necessary awareness towards all of these efforts and importance of digitalization. Is the media also promoting these kind of strategies enough that will allow this kind of knowledge to be shared among businesses all over Malaysia?
I think everybody is trying to help each other at this moment. There is a good feel about that. Government is trying to help, private sector is trying to help. But my issue is that I feel that there's still some gaps here and there in the entire ecosystem. The gaps lies with where the people who doesn't know what they want and where to start. They will simply, each of them have their own definition of digital and technology. So there are a lot of people who aspire to provide solution and they think they know, but they didn't listen carefully and they don't understand. So this is where the gap is. The people who are looking for it, they do not know and do not understand and they cannot imagine beyond what else can be done. So when they cannot communicate their want to the service provider or the advisor and all that, they may not capture it correctly. Just like I give you a simple example, an analogy. If a patient go and see doctor, they only keep focusing on telling the doctor, hey, I got shoulder pain. Normally, the doctor who diagnosed will say, based on what the patient say is shoulder pain, give him Panadol. So there may be miscommunication in that. Maybe there are more. It depends on the skill of the doctor to get the information out, then to diagnose and to get this root cause and then to build from that root cause to elevate the health. Same thing in business is like that. When I keep telling people I have no money, but what is that causing the no money? Is it because your marketing no good, or your internal system is not efficient, or your internal system is fragmented in pieces that is not? So whoever give advice have to listen carefully. I still want to believe in the good initiative that everybody want to help, but whether you are helping correctly or SME just take the Prihatin or whatever support that they have, they use it in the wrong place. Is it because they don't have a market? That means they didn't do a good analysis of their business environment and how their internal strength and weaknesses can capitalize on the environment. And then digital or solution is just a tool. They need to align their strategy using the right tools and right solution. I think that is a gap and is still very, to me, is quite obvious and prominent because we are people who came from many sectors and have experience. Sometimes they over-invest into area whereby it's not their pain point. So first of all, they have to understand where is their pain point and then what strategy they need. Of course, pain point, some of them, it depends on a good entrepreneur who know how to express it, who is observant enough to understand the detail and list it down. Then only you can derive the right type of digitalization. Just like people tell you, paracetamol is good for headache, but it cannot be treated for any other thing. It cannot use for beyond pain. It's a pain management medicine. But if the root cause of the pain is something else, you have to treat the root cause. Like for example, for digitalization, most of the time I find that SME is that they want to export or they want the market, but they forgot that whether their product is wanted or needed in the market that they are looking into. So all these people who will tell them, is this kind of situation, what kind of solution, I'm just giving an example, what kind of solution or digital technology will help them is, first of all, to do an analytic onto that market they are entering into. Then with that simple analytic, they have to map across what the strength of this company, can they address those and the analytic report that is coming out, the outcome. So what sort of outcome they want to start. So when they understand this kind of proper analysis right now, for example, I want to enter into market X because that market X have say it's a small island. They don't have a parking. They have a lot of parking issue. So what is in my company that can address that? First of all, they do a proper analytic using digital, maybe how many of the people there own car, and how many of the how good is the public transport, something like that. I'm just giving some example. So me being an SME, maybe I supply spare parts for the vehicle. So how can I help this kind of market? Definitely you can, if the public transport is bad. So people need to own car, right? So when people need to own car, that's where you come in. But how do you go about to the next step? What kind of digital that you need to do? You need to do a survey, right? Instead of you go one by one, you use a digital solution, do a survey, and then what kind of cost and purchasing power. So this kind of thing is very analytic and more what do you call that, awareness and learning process. So before we talk about digitalization, we must know what we want.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
So this is my view, that you must know what you want before the solution provider can even help. But solution provider cannot keep promoting something without knowing what they want.
Correct.
Or what is their actual situation.
This analogy was very similar with another company owner that I interviewed just yesterday. Actually, they talked about how a lot of solution providers are not listening to the real problems and issues that this kind of traditional SMEs really want, and they just what we call like do whatever they think is best without even knowing whether their solution can even solve the core root issues that these companies are facing, right? Interesting analogies on how you actually compare digitalization with also like medical related procedures, right? Like how the doctor is just trying to treat something very on a surface level, but it's not all the way to what the core root of the issues are, right? So yeah, those are indeed very great tips that you shared earlier on, and I hope that businesses and traditional SMEs can actually learn and have some kind of light bulb moments through these kind of conversations. Yeah. So moving forward. Yep.
Before that, I just another thing that this is just a light moment. Once I spoke to a solution provider, and I like what he shared with me, which is a technology digital solution provider. Some of them oversold, under-deliver. Oversold, under-deliver means they quoted they can do this and that, the solution can do this and that, but come to reality, this is year 2021. Okay, so this guy, I really respect. He really is, because I used to be in fintech, I used to be in solution, I used to be in many things that trying to provide this. So he mentioned something which is very true to all of us in the room. Dear sir and madam, now we are in this era, our technology, whether we like it or not, can only solve, everybody will look for these three solutions. Generally, cheap, good, and fast. Okay, out of these three categories, it would be good that you can have all the three: cheap, good, and fast. But reality and the technology capability can only allow you to choose any of the two. There's no all of the above. So if you want to cheap, if you cannot afford, like most of the SME, you have to, your first tick is cheap. Then the next tick, you want fast or good. So a lot of them choose fast. So they cannot complain that the system cannot be scalable because you want fast, right? So, okay, I want to choose cheap. Then I want it to be good. Then the system may be a bit slow.
Right.
That's what he say. So reality is take things where the environment and capability is able to. So the expectation have to be managed properly.
Right.
So that's a takeaway for this your question. My suggestion is that your expectation have to be realistic.
Expectations.
And
correct. Right.
so as the digital provider, they also have to be realistic in terms of don't over-promise, under-deliver.
Yep.
So when there is a disappointment in the business side, then they will lose confidence. All this it won't help one. It's just wasting money. But it may be because of either the communication gap, the misunderstanding, or the expectation was not managed right from the beginning. Okay.
Yep. Indeed, through my years of doing this kind of digitalization efforts with various clients, expectations is always key, because they like to read on an article on the news somewhere and talk about how successful certain implementations is, and then the SMEs will have different kind of expectations already. Oh, just like that, download the software, can use. But in reality, if you're talking about changing business processes, it's a lengthy process. A lot of culture change, SOP change has to be met with expectations, and whether these kind of solutions can even fit into the entire operational process, right? It's a totally different thing. So yeah, that is indeed a good triangle, three-pointer thing to look at, that not everything can be achieved on any type of integration, and certain expectations have to be kept in check before we decide and embark on this digital transformation journey, right? So moving on, it's been a very hot topic recently across, especially in Malaysia, because we are an Islamic-based country with various type of Islamic economy inside. What's your take on the trends of Islamic digital economy, and how is Penang Halal International trying to be like a part of this wave moving forward?
For the Islamic digital, right? Okay, actually, the entire this is my view in terms of halal digital economy. These are the very important key components. Okay, I would say that integration, that means shared data, whether horizontal or vertical, right? From point to one point to another. So this entire Islamic, what do you call that, halal digital economy, from my own perspective, I carve it down to 7 functional components to be incorporated, and they are interlocking. They have independency to each other. The problem is that all these components are being taken out. This one say, oh, this is mine, this one is, there is no consolidated in the, these are the, what do you call that, 7 functional components which I identify from my experience and observation and my work. I came up with this. The e-documentation is very important. When you talk about trade, now I'm focusing on the halal digital for trade and economy. E-documentation cut across, whether it's trade, legal, transport, tax, whatever, the documentation is one of the components need to be built. The processes, the digitalized processes, the SOP, the standards, the approval, the certification, all these are interlocking the 7 components that I'm talking about. And then tracing and visibility, that means the accountability and the integrity part. That means from the birth of the raw material all the way to the finished good, the traceability for the what do we call that, the trust and integrity in the whole halal ecosystem. Now another one is competency. That means along this whole ecosystem, whoever who are involved in it must have certain level of competency and knowledge. It cannot be because they are in there to make some quick money or quick opportunity. It won't work that way. Now, another very important component in this halal digital economy is the cargo and warehouse, the security. Okay, that means that you have a halal cargo warehouse whereby you ensure all the hygiene, the compliance, Sharia, everything is being applied. So all these require, again, a technology and a digital solution for tracking, monitoring, and surveillance. Now, another part is just now in the beginning I mentioned is the integration of the data. Now, and all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 must house under this very important thing called international monitoring platform, whereby this international monitoring platform, I'm saying something on my own visualization in terms of halal digital economy.
Yep.
This international monitoring involves authorities, the governance, the technology, the finance, the insurance, the approval letter, the clearance process, everything to house just now the 6 components. And in this part, we are talking about Islamic digital economy. Of course, the payment, the fintech, we are talking about in fact, that they are with one of the authority, I was proposing some trade crypto. Why the trade crypto is so essential in this thing is that because not only for halal digital economy, but also for generally all economy, we are subject to a lot of all these international trade policy and foreign currency exchange. And in business, these are very volatile risks, and it can affect a lot of decision making. It can affect a lot of other outcome and impact. So imagine if you know about digital currency or digital crypto or whatever, it is the latest technology, and a lot of them use it for trade, for investment and all that. Nobody so far has seriously or authority take it as it to enable international trade to move in the fastest, most efficient way. Why? Because it will help to eliminate the currency risk. It will help just now the 6 components I'm talking about, the traceability, visibility, the compliance with the Sharia, the AMLA, whatever, and the standard SOP, all will be resolved by itself because the risk will be reduced. Currently, how the trade work is that when they need something, they either issue conventional LCBA or whatever, and they book a currency to hedge the situation. But imagine if digital platform or halal digital allow that all these compliances are being addressed, and they created this platform. All they need is using a digital platform, purchase something, they transact a certain type of medium, or maybe we call it halal digital currency or whatever, in that platform, they will solve a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it will take many. When I talk about all this is the broad concept. When this whatever 7 Islamic concept component, functionable component linked together, the broad concept will be addressed. Risk management will be addressed. Efficiency, standardization will be addressed. Transparency, governance and control will be addressed. So now the 7 can overcome these 3, plus the risk management, which just now I just explained. All these will become a very effective digital economy, whether it's halal or for the traditional, conventional, it applies the same.
Oh, it's indeed.
Okay, I can explain like this because I was a capital market, financial market governance person. I take strong passion in this area. So I'm combining all that I learned for 30 years, 3 decades, including fintech and whatever I learned in the compliance Sharia, halal and all that. And I make it into an easy to understand way of explaining halal Islamic digital economy.
Right, right.
Yep.
These are indeed not to say issues, information that we don't generally get freely outside, right? So when people like to talk about Islamic digital economy, things like that, they might talk very high level things, and it's interesting to hear how you actually broke them down into these kind of actionable components, and how if one day we are able to integrate everything together, then only we can see like the true advantages of running this whole digital economy systematically and whatnot, right? So hey, thanks Point Nada for that sharing. So let's move on to the final question before we end our session for today, is that with the pandemic happening and everything, what kind of opportunities do you see SMEs will go to or grow in terms of trying to utilize digitalization in their businesses, knowingly that MCO 3.0 has just happened, and we might even face an imminent full-blown lockdown very soon, probably by the government. Do you still see SMEs have the chance to really accelerate that digitalization process and obtain various opportunities even post-pandemic and beyond?
Okay, I would think actually pandemic, some may rise with it. Many industry may rise with it, especially digital. Is definitely because digital and technology is where the little connectivity that will help to resolve just now the back into where we started, the communication and engagement and marketplaces. Now, and for Islamic economy, this is from the Islamic finance asset. We are looking at US dollar snapshot of the global market, how big this halal market is. We are looking at 2024, now it's 2021. We are looking at estimate. This one is estimated by the one of the research report done by the Hexa Research. We are looking at US dollars 12.14 trillion size by 2024. So we are looking at that size, US dollars 12.14 trillion global market. Is very, very big. So Islamic asset, finance asset is very big, but the one that is leading is halal food. So with pandemic, whether this digital will continue to stay, I think it already started to grow, and it will definitely stay whether pandemic is here or not. It will have to, because why? As just now I brought back, the new generation are very tech savvy.
Yep.
Okay, and their life with digital and technology is part and parcel. As they grow, this innovative space will continue to develop and innovate into other things. So a lot of businesses, to me, although they may face challenges, but there are other solutions. Remember, I say that when there is a challenges, there are solutions. Many ways that they can do it, and digital and technology is one of the tools that will get them future fit, not future ready, future fit. They have to be ready now.
Yep.
They are going to be future fit for the new generation of consumer and business people who are coming into the market. The 30% of the Gen Z, and then we are talking about after Gen Z, the new generation will start coming in. So those days, people maybe 24, 25 only can start to become a student in business. Today, 15 years old, they can construct a business using this. That's how relevant it is into our daily life. So how all these SME can overcome this and accelerate the growth? There are many ways. One of the things that I keep telling SME is that collaborate. You can't build everything yourself with that speed. If you want to build big, you need to collaborate, you need teams. Whether you build internally or externally, collaborate. Now, another thing is that this is one of the things we learned. I'm quoting an example using Amazon.com as compared to Borders. When these two companies started, these two are also into technology. Why Amazon stayed and become stronger? Amazon keep buying what is necessary to build the entire ecosystem. Borders, they buy bits and pieces. Today, did Border exist? No. And why Amazon's strategy work? Because collaboration, M&A. Anything that is aligned or within their ecosystem, if they have the money, they conserve the money. They didn't pay dividend for many years when they started. They keep buying. M&A, they built the network and the system to stabilize. Now, another way for certain businesses, maybe they do not want to go in that kind of model. Another solution is that outsource. They don't have to, what do you call that, reinvent the wheel. There are many wheels outside. So choose one of those that you can trust. But you don't want to be some people say if you want to drink milk, you don't buy cow. So you outsource to the experts to do it for you. That is another solution. That's why I told SME, if your marketing is your challenge, you can outsource to people who really know their stuff and get the framework right, ask them to do it. Of course, a lot of them are worried. That's why Penang Halal International also engage with people who are in IP, advisory, IP, legal, and then collaborative agreement to help all these SME.
Right.
We know when there's a challenge, there's always a solution. Another one that I find that businesses is that there is always risk in everything we do. Calculate the risk. You must try it, because there's no point keep constructing and then design and think. You must get the thing out into the market and see how is the response, pass, fail, or whatever. Then you come back and reinvent. Many technology company or SME, not necessarily technology, any SME, they are successful because they are fast to the market. You know why? People always remember the first one, just like WhatsApp, right?
Yep.
The system, people, once they get the hang of it, they will always go there, just like Amazon. If I try to create another one, replica is quite hard unless you innovate even better than theirs. You know, so another thing is that SME, there's no more classroom learning. You have to go into the pool and learn. At least if you cannot swim, you just put half of your leg in to see how it feels. The moment you get the feel, then you can understand and visualize the journey better, and then you can understand your own internal strategy much better than what the expert is telling you. Expert is coming in to support and assist you, but they cannot feel what you feel. You know, the people in the game require another guy outside to look at them and tell them, hey, actually this corner is a bit wrong. This kind of analogy.
True.
So there's also a way solution.
All right, great one. Hey, thank you so much for elaborating so much points regarding our topics today. We have actually come to the end of the session, so I would like to again thank you for your time, Poinella, for joining us today, and to also elaborate in so much detail of the steps, of the tips, challenges that SMEs are facing, and how hopefully Malaysia as a country is able to continue to survive and thrive in this current pandemic and so on. So once again, I'm Jason Loh. We've come to the end of this session, and I'd like to thank Puan and ask the audience to stay tuned for the next session. Thanks, Puan. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.